Yes, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Yes. And welcome to this streams from wherever you're watching me around the world. Welcome to today's streams. I'm your favorite host, El Matador, El Pibe de Oro, Kozanoza, Motopamba, Raymond Mutuku. And I'm very happy, Lope DG. I'm very happy to be here this wonderful evening. It is 4:17 Kenyan time, and I'm very happy to welcome you to our streams this evening. Welcome both to the Chariots of Fire. For those who are watching me in my Chariots of Fire, welcome. For those who are watching me in the other channel, that is, Raymond Mutuku Live, I want to welcome you. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. We are both live in both of my channels. And if you're new to this channel, I want to welcome you to our stream. So this week, I was very busy. I had a few things here and there. Couldn't really, update you guys on our channel, but I'm back and I'm very happy to be here. And, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. We are live in both of the channels at the same time. And, welcome. I love visitors. And this is a very interesting time. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. All right. So this week, we'll be discussing what has been happening this week. And we'll talk. We'll talk about the issues that are, that are being discussed in our country. Welcome, my dear brothers and sisters. Did you miss me? I missed you too. Yeah, so welcome. And, it's Wednesday, and in fact, I want to, please subscribe and tell me where you're watching me from. I love visitors. Welcome to both of my channels. We are both live. We are live here at Raymond Mutuku. The first channel is called World of Our Own, and the other channel is called the Chariots of Fire. Welcome to both of them. We are live in both of my channels. I'm very happy to be here. So this week we have a few things I will talk about, and the first thing that we'll talk about, of course, will be, the topic that everybody's talking about this week: the impeachment case of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. I know you guys really want to know, my opinion concerning the judgment. I know so many people are asking me the question: do you think the judges did a good job? And I know some of these things we're going to discuss them. And I know that, I love politics. I love politics. You cannot separate me from politics. You cannot separate me from the law. We are like carrots and peas. You cannot separate me and politics. We are like carrots and peas. You cannot separate me, you know. Even the Bible says in Romans chapter 8, verses 35, what will separate us from the love of Christ? You cannot separate me from the law. You cannot separate me from politics. We are like carrots and peas, baby. We are like carrots and peas. So you cannot separate me. Where there is law, you'll find me. Where there is politics, you will find me. And I love politics. I love politics. I move politics. And it's my life. I love the law. When I'm alone in the house, I just read the law and the Bible. And it has really defined my life. It has changed the trajectory of my life. So when we are discussing politics, when you're discussing politics with me, you know that I'm like a fish in the ocean. I'm like a fish in the lake. So you better know that when you're discussing the law with me, we are like carrots and peas, carrots and peas, carrots and peas. You cannot separate me from that. So when you're new to this channel, subscribe. This is something that I do. I even dream about it. You cannot separate me from the law. You cannot separate me from the Constitution. You cannot separate me from the Bible. Ask me those three things, even in the middle of the night. Even in the middle of the night, and I will quote this Constitution, I will quote the Bible, and I will quote the law with ease. So today I want to talk about one of the issues that, and in fact, I'm not reading from any place. In fact, it's automatic for me. And the first thing that we will be talking about is the issue of malicious, it's called malicious compliance. That is the first issue that came out during the impeachment case of Rigathi Gachagua. So the question was, like the issue of malicious compliance of the law. The Senate, rushed the whole process, and most people in the country felt that this Mr. Rigathi Gachagua was not given a fair trial. And that is the issue that is, so many people are asking me, do you think Mr. Gachagua, of course, was given do you think the process was free and fair? I said, the process, of course, when you talk about, they used our institutions, that is the law, as a weapon. All right. So that was an issue that came out very clearly. So this issue went to those judges. We're talking about three judges. We're talking about Justice Mrima, Justice Ogola, and Justice Frida. And they admitted in their 350-page ruling that indeed there was miscarriage of the law. There was, there was travesty. And Mr. Rigathi Gachagua was denied, some of his fundamental rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. And therefore, he was awarded 50 million shillings. Do you think? And in fact, as from yesterday, I went and asked a few friends of mine, do you think 50 million is good money for Rigathi Gachagua? I said, 50 money is an insult to a man of the stature of Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. You cannot give him 50 million and expect him to just move on like that. All right. Any questions after there? Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to comment. And the beauty, when you're with me, we'll talk about some of the things that were discussed in that ruling, because that ruling will set precedents for the years to come. All right. Any questions up to there? So here, I've been listening to so many people who have been talking about that judgment. They said, and this is actually their excuse, that the judges ruled to uphold, the judges, just wanted to maintain the status quo, but actually didn't. They just said that, he's still impeached. And because if they had ruled in favor of Rigathi Gachagua, according to many people, they say that there would have been, some kind of chaos. So to prevent chaos, or to prevent, total collapse of our systems, that is what they were saying anyway. They ruled not in favor of Rigathi Gachagua. So where do they stand? That is actually the issue. Where do they stand? And this is something that we need to do, and I want to explain to you the next move. Because I was listening to the speech of Rigathi Gachagua yesterday, and he said that he consulted with his, his legal team, led by Mr. Paul Paul Muite Kabugi, and he told Paul Muite to go and file, an appeal at the Court of Appeal. But this is the issue here, because most people are asking me, do you think the Court of Appeal will rule in favor of Rigathi Gachagua? Of course, you can even see the trajectory of this case. You can see where this case is going. Even before going to the Court of Appeal, they will always come up with something to deny this man, to deny him, his fundamental rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. And if I were in those shoes, of course, Article 99(4), it says that as long as a case is in the courts, maybe if it's an appeal, or maybe it's in the Court of Appeal, or in the Supreme Court, you cannot deny somebody a chance to vie. That is what they say. And I'm going to read it for you. That is in Article 99. That is what they're using right now. Article 99 of the Constitution. They're really relying on it. We're going to talk about it, don't worry, and I'll read it for you. Any questions? That is, if you're new to this channel, subscribe, and it says that, that Rigathi Gachagua should exhaust all the avenues that are presented to him, including going to the Court of Appeal and going to the Supreme Court. It is, he's allowed to do that. So definitely it means that, as long as he's appealing, they can stand a chance to be in the ballot. The issue here is to be on the ballot. And I think from the way I'm interpreting it, from my point of view, I think the issue here is they just want Rigathi Gachagua to be on the ballot. So to be on the ballot is not an issue. It can actually be achieved as long as he's appealing that decision, as long as he keeps on appealing, taking his case from the Court of Appeal, if possible to the Supreme Court, but also to make sure that he does perfect timing. He'll be able to do what? He'll be able to be on the ballot. But if he goes this year to either the Court of Appeal or he goes to the Supreme Court, this year he wants to do all that in 2026, then it means that in 2027, most probably, he will not be on the ballot. He'll be fixed. So if Rigathi Gachagua wants to appeal this decision, he should do that maybe next year, June, or maybe next year, July. All right? So that he can be on the ballot. So that he can buy more time. Do you understand? If he goes to the Court of Appeal this year, it means the Court of Appeal will move expeditiously and will have its decision, and most likely the decision might not be in the favor of Rigathi Gachagua. All right? So what he needs to do, if I were in those shoes, if the issue is being on the ballot, ladies and gentlemen, then Rigathi Gachagua has only one choice, all right, to file his appeal in June or July of next year, just to buy time, so that he can, because he knows that maybe the case would be expedited, and then he would go. If he goes to next year June, it means that even if they make a very quick decision, or maybe it goes to July next year, even if the Court of Appeal next year July, even if they rush, they will have to come up with a judgment in August. you know. And if they come with an argument, a judgment in August, even if it's an unfavorable, unfavorable ruling, it will be already in August. He will be on the ballot. And also, if they make a very, uh, unfavorable decision, he will still go to the Supreme Court